Hello, YouTube and residents of Altadena and other people of LA who are still recovering from the fire. This is a bit of a different video from my usual video, but at the same time, it's kind of a similar video where I'm uh, making this video for Lotus Rising LA, which is a nonprofit that helps the residents of the Los Angeles who lost their homes in the wildfires of last year. And the thing is, I haven't experienced a total home loss from a fire, but there was a time when the apartment that we were living in caught on fire. And then I came home from school, and then all of a sudden, my mom said, "Hey, we need to go to a hotel." And I'm like, "What?" And turns out something upstairs burned, and then it impacted our home as well. And then um, what was gonna happen once we go to the hotel? We don't know. At the time, it was just my mom, and my mom doesn't speak fully fluent English, and then so there's a bunch of people like insurance adjusters come and all these people coming in and out of the hotel room, and we're just kind of sitting there like, well, what's happening? And this was a very chaotic situation, and that was just without even a total loss, right? We still had the apartment, we still had the belongings, but um, I'm sure that when you lose your home, it's like that times a million, right? So, in that case, it's very important for us to be on the road to recovery in terms of our emotional well-being and health. Now, today with this video, I want to give you one kind of a short-term relief and one longer-term relief. But they're sort of in the same vein, and it's important to understand how these two interact with each other, how the short-term plan interacts with the long-term plan. So the thing is, I believe in happiness. I believe in unconditional happiness. I believe that everybody can be happy exactly where they are because happiness doesn't have any strings attached. Happiness doesn't have any conditions attached to it. And when I mean happiness, I mean the lack of suffering. So I know that this is a very wild concept. I know that this is a very a concept that seems very far-fetched. But this is sort of the base principle that guides the practices that I do. Now, in order to get to that state, needless to say, there's a lot of introspection to do. There's a lot of observation to do and mindfulness, observe, like whatever, right? For instance, all of those things aside, let's just talk about the mechanism of the mind. Similar to how your body generally recovers from things. If you run and then you fall, and then you get oh no, you get some bruises on your knee and some scrapes on your hand, they heal, right? Over time, they heal. Our body naturally has this kind of like a resilience. Our body has a healing factor. But once we incur something to the level of an injury, right? So suppose our bones break. Suppose we have a wound that's like super large. That requires medical assistance, right? It requires medical attention. So normally we can rely on strengthening, we can rely on our natural resilience, but sometimes the impact that we experience is bigger than we can handle. So in those cases, it's very important to get back to the natural state first, like the non-injured state first. So maybe I'm a runner, but then I broke my leg. I can't rehab. I can't start running again until the leg isn't injured. I have a big cut. That's a big injury. I can't go around places and, just expect my skin to heal it without stitches. So when we are injured, it's important that we get back to a state of non-injury first, and then we can work on strengthening, and then we can work on rehabilitation. But the thing is, the mind, it's invisible. So people have a tendency of diminishing it, the importance of the mind, of the importance of a healthy mind. So it's very difficult when we even we do this to ourselves, right? Because why? Our bodies are physically okay. but we get overwhelmed by things and we get very stressed, and our emotional experiences of the PTSD start overriding our lives, and then we spiral. In that state, it's very important that we know how to anchor ourselves back into a non-injured state. The thing is, although the mind, with trauma, with a lot of these like big injuries, although the mind is prone to being in a constantly activated state, there are moments of time when we can ground back into our present mind. But the thing is, we come to our present mind, but then our thoughts starts to come up again, and then with the right triggers, the emotional experiences trigger, and then now things start to spiral again. But then again, once you're deep into the spiral, you have the moments where you snap out of it, but again, you just fall back into it, and it's a vicious loop, right? So the short-term relief that I'm going to introduce you to today is called EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. Now, EFT works very, very well. It's a somatic technique that you can do alone in your room with no other equipment required. When you do it, you will find that you go from an activated state into a more present state. But in order for you to gauge how effective it is, it's very important to assess first and foremost. How are you feeling right now? This is the very important question. How are you feeling right now? This is a question that can be asked anytime, any day, and anywhere. When you have a moment to yourself, how am I feeling right now? Because we culturally don't ask this to ourselves, we have a tendency of constantly pushing ourselves. Imagine having a parent who micromanages. Imagine having a boss who micromanages. Imagine having somebody who just constantly keeps on pushing you forward with no regard to your energy level, your fatigue. Unfortunately, this is something we tend to do to ourselves because we don't stop to check in how we are doing. How am I feeling right now? Once we have that, and especially if you can identify that you're having an emotional experience of spiraling, this is a good time to start the process of EFT. So the EFT has two components. Number one, it's the verbal component. You say it out loud. It's like this mantra that you say out loud. And then there's a somatic component where you do some activities with your head, with your hand, with your body, right? So let me walk you through the verbal component first. So the verbal component is simple. Although I feel XYZ, where the XYZ is what you are feeling right now, I fully and completely accept myself. This is a simple sentence that I think we should be saying more. So part of the emotional freedom technique is we stop resisting the emotions that we're actually feeling right now. So although, suppose I'm feeling nervous because I'm shooting this video so that people are going to see it, and now I feel self-conscious. I can say something like, although I feel nervous and self-conscious, I fully and completely accept myself. This is the verbal component, right? Okay, now the physical component has some steps, but this is easy. You can follow along. So think acupuncture, but with your hands. Get two fingers like this, and then tap. Start tapping the starting point of your eyebrow. It doesn't matter left side, right side, so it doesn't matter. Then the next point is edge of your eye. And then the next point is underneath your eye, right? Below the iris. Next is the space between your lips and nose. Next is your chin, but the space between your lips and your chin. Next is generally your collarbone area. Next is underneath your nipple, like around this area. And then finally move it to the side a little bit and tap here. And then this is an additional step, but tap the edges of your finger and hand and palm. So now you combine the two together. I'll walk you through it. Suppose you are feeling terrorized. Although I feel terrorized right now, I fully and completely accept myself. Even though I feel terrorized right now, I fully and completely accept myself. Although I feel terrorized right now, I fully and completely accept myself. Although I feel terrorized right now, I fully and completely accept myself. So, you will most likely experience a relief in just one round. So if you measure the discomfort that you are feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, and then if you're above 5, I would repeat this until you go below 2. So this is a very quick and easy way to ground you back into your state without forcing you to feel anything other than what you're feeling right now. It teaches you how to accept the feeling that you are experiencing because it's human. It's not a problem that you're feeling terrorized. It's not a problem that you feel overwhelmed. It's a human experience, and there is no shame, there's no judgment in feeling those feelings. Now, the longer term is basically like rehab and training. But like I said, if you have an injury, it's very difficult to rehab, it's very difficult to train. So, the rehab and training is basically meditation. But meditation is very difficult because, especially with the traumatic, incident, because when you close your eyes and sit down and do nothing, what generally tends to happen? You start to think. And when you think, what happens? Your emotional experiences start overriding your natural, rhythm, and then you start spiraling inside of your head, and it becomes very uncomfortable. And moreover, meditation is supposed to be static, which is which is going to be very uncomfortable for you. So combining the emotional spiral that you're having with the physical discomfort, it's going to be a bad time for you if you're not grounded, if you are not doing this intentionally for the sake of self-development. Which is why I wanted to introduce you to EFT first. It's a way to snap out of it. But the thing is, there are different methodologies of meditation. And I could teach you the hardcore self-development way, but that's a little bit far of a stretch at your current condition, right? So what's important right now is basically, I want to give you a basic meditation so that you start giving space to yourself. This is going to be a long-term practice where you give time to be with yourself. Every day, we spend time with our family. We are there for them. Every day, we are at work. We spend time for our bosses and our work. Every day, we don't really give a lot of time to ourselves. So even for just 5 minutes or 10 minutes per day, I think it's very important to sit with yourself and again, just ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? And now, how am I feeling right now? This is a question that you can answer like on the spot right now. But if you're on your phone scrolling and then you're asking, how am I feeling right now? Oh, I don't know. You tend to just skim over that question. So the meditative practice today is just closing your eyes in a seated, comfortable position, not for too long, just for 5 minutes. Just for 5 minutes, set a timer, and what you do is you just focus on the sensation of your breath. as it enters and leaves your nostrils. So that's going to be your intentional focus. Every time you notice yourself drifting away, if you don't notice it, it's fine. Oh, I'm thinking about, what I'm gonna do after. Oh, what's for lunch today? Oh yeah, and I had taxes to do, blah blah blah. If I don't notice it, I can't do anything about it. But then if I notice, oh wait, I've drifted apart, then what you come back to is this static focus. So this has twofold implications. Number one, you're practicing anchoring back into something that you intentionally want to focus on. This is developing your concentration. But number two, as you repeat this exercise every day, what you're going to find is, oh, I tend to have this kind of a thought very often when I'm getting distracted. This is very different for every individual. Of course, we all get distracted, but the thoughts that we are distracted by are different person by person. So when you get to understand, oh, this seems to be a recurring thought pattern that I have, then it helps you understand yourself a little bit better. And of course, it's good when your caretakers and when your loved ones understand you. But when you understand yourself better, it's just so much more intimate, because turns out you're the only person who is with you 24/7. So again, the short-term practice is called emotional freedom technique, and the longer-term practice is meditation. Start with the 5-minute just a breath observation, and then you'll get to develop your concentration, and you'll get to develop an understanding for yourself. But when you find that it's so difficult because you're just spiraling, it's important to anchor back into your presence by relying on EFT. And the more you do EFT and the more you get that, oh yeah, this really works well for me, then the less you start worrying about emotional outbursts, because you know, you believe, you verify through experience that you can handle it. And that is, I think, one of the big component of resiliency. When I know, when I believe, when I showed myself, when I verified to myself that I can take care of myself. Okay, so these are the tools that I wanted to give to you today. And again, if you're part of the fire victims, I wish you inner peace and happiness regardless of the circumstance you are in. And if you are not a victim of the LA fires and would like to help my friend Jackie, please check out her nonprofit Lotus Rising LA, and I will link to it in the descriptions below. Goodbye. Oops.